Hi everyone, Cheryl here. So this is part 3 of the tutorial. We're about to start putting the base pages together as well as some of the other pieces that we need to. So the base page is the piece that's 9.5 by 7 as well as the piece that is 10 by 7.5. So you should have scored at 1/2 inch on two sides only, a long side and a short side. Cut the corner out where the lines intersect plus a little bit so you have a V. What I'm doing is I am not using my ATG tape. I'm using my score tape or another double-sided strong adhesive. The reason being is that you are going to put these two pieces together, and I just wanted something a little stronger than ATG. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and folded my score lines, cut my notch out here at the bottom, and then placed my tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off and get started adhering it. So I actually normally I put the score tape on to kind of save time with the tutorial. I normally take my glue gun and glue these corners together and then finish up the score tape on the other side, but I'm not doing that this time, at least not for this one. So what I did was I just took the tape off, stuck the two corners together. So now that I have the two corners together, I'm going to take my sheet here and I am going to bump it up against the edge down here at the bottom. I'm going to do my best to do this while you guys can see. Hopefully I won't be out of frame, but I'm trying to line it up to the edge so that it's flush, so that it's a perfect mat. And because this is score tape, it is super sticky. The good thing is that if you do happen to be a little over the edge on the side, that's okay too, because that's the side that's gonna be adhered. Hold on one second. That's gonna be the side that's gonna be adhered to your binding, so it is okay. So just trying to make sure. Sorry, I know I was completely off frame, but I couldn't see. Just trying to make sure that I had it on. Once you have adhered it, go ahead and take your bone folder and reinforce your folds. Reinforce your adhesion, just to make sure, because this is your base page. So you want to make sure that you have a good stick. Alright, so there you go. So now that's this side is the side that's going to adhere to your binding, and this is your base page. And then here's going to be your opening here at the top in order for you to stick your tag in. Alright, so one down. I left 3 out so I can do 2 with you, or 3 with you. So let's go ahead and do 2 more. This one is the one where I was saying I had put the score tape down and then used hot glue to put the corners together, and then went ahead and put my tape on. So that's why you won't see me sticking the corners together, because they're already done. So I'm just taking the tape off here, and then just making sure I don't have any tape on the corners that's overlapping the corners rather. I'm going to take my base page, and again I am going to line it up, and I know you guys cannot see this, but I'm actually just lining it up with this corner right here, like right there. You guys see that? Lining it up with the corner, and then just using my fingers to make sure that I keep it straight, and then go ahead and put it down. Okay, there we go. And then just take, again, your bone folder and just press it down, because you want to make sure that it gets a good adhesion so it sticks really well. Okay. There we go. All right, so that is 2. And here is number 3. Take this one. Okay. So, I have some extra tape hanging off the side, just making sure it's not overlapping. Then I'm going to take my 2 corners and put them together. I'm going to take my sheet and try and do this on camera, although I don't know that you guys can actually see it, but putting the 2 together. Then just sticking it down. This one might be a little crooked. Let's see. Yeah, just a little bit, but that's okay because it'll still adhere and go well. Alright, so these are my base pages here. Now, make sure that your base pages with the opening is to your left, okay? Because that is where your binding is going to go. Just always make sure that no matter what you're doing with your pages when you first start out, that your opening is always going to be to your left, okay? Alright, so let's start with the first page here. So for the first one, you're going to have the top flap and you're going to have a side flap. All right, so let's see. Here we go. So here is my side flap and here is my top flap. So what you're going to do, make sure that you have, obviously scored, cut your corners so that it adheres better, and do that to both. And then I'm going to use my ATG tape to adhere both of these. Okay, so for this one, this being the top flap that I'm about to do, this one is going to go right here in your opening. All right, so just like that. I usually kind of eyeball it to try to make sure that I am in the center. See. Yeah, so just kind of eyeball it. Now, you guys can either mat your page first and then adhere it down, or you can adhere this down and then mat your page. I'm going to go ahead and mat my page first just because it's easier for me because then it's actually done and I do not have to worry about it. Now, do not put your base page down. Reason being is because your side flap has to be adhered right here. And if you put your base page down, you're going to have to rip the page up first before you actually be able to put this down. Because there's no way to stick it on the inside to hide it unless, of course, you stick it on this side and then have it open this way against the actual spine. Sorry about that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mat just the flaps. So the side flap and the top flap, those are the 2 pieces that I'm going to mat real quickly. Okay, so I actually have my papers all set up. So this is my side flap here, and then here is my top flap, front and back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get some tape on those so I can mat those really quickly. And do not be alarmed. My ATG gun, after a while, starts to whine. I don't know why, but it starts to whine. Alright, so here is my first one. Side flap here. Go ahead and try to center this. I don't like leaving a huge border. I actually like it where it's just really just a tiny border, so like 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And my bone folder. So I can go ahead and smooth that out. And then chevron pattern. This piece, right? Yeah. This is the, yeah, sorry. I just had to double check and make sure that was the side I was supposed to be adhering down. Okay, so the 2 side flaps are done. I'm just making sure I don't have any excess tape hanging over the side that I'll have to get off later. And then I will adhere this down. All right. Okay, so there is my side flap, and now here is my top flap. I'm going to go ahead and get some adhesive on this, and then I stick this one down. I told you guys it winds. I have no idea why, but it does. And then what I did on this one, I had some extra paper. I didn't just want it to be just the black and white polka dots. So part of the paper had some banner strips, and I just cut out 2, adhered them together, and then stuck it down. And I actually like the way that looks. Just something different. Sorry, I know I am not completely in frame. There we go. Okay, so one more. And then I can actually go ahead and mat this. Get this down so you guys can see. I just do this because then it's done and I don't have to worry about it. But just be sure, if you're not comfortable doing that and you want to go ahead and put your base pages all together, including the pockets and everything like that, before you actually mat, just to make sure that you don't accidentally make a mistake, then by all means go ahead and do that. I don't know. I think once I finish that page, once I go past that page, I want to be done with it. I don't want to go back to it. But that's just my personal preference. Okay, so this one here, just lining it up to make sure I have that border I want. And we'll stick it down. Okay, so now base page, we're gonna put this one down. So this one goes like this over the top. I mean, you could adhere it right here, but I actually like it where it's over the top. That way it truly has a flip up. So the adhesion is gonna go right here on this piece only. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some HEG tape on that. If you feel more comfortable using score tape or another stronger double-sided adhesive, that's fine as well. But I just use my ATG gun, and that seems to work out just fine. Okay, so again, my opening is to my left. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it this way so I can kind of eyeball where my center is. Sometimes I actually take a ruler just to see exactly where it is. Other times I just eyeball it. So I kind of like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that down. Put that there, and then take my bone folder and just reinforce that just a little bit. And then I'll just flip it over and do the same thing on the inside just to make sure I get a good stick. Okay? So then that's it. There's your first flap. All right. Now, for this flap right here, you're going to put your adhesion right here because it's going to flay. It's going to be like this so that it opens up like so. All right. So this one is just like this. And then it flips up. Okay. So again, you're going to put your adhesion right here. And again, using my ATG. Okay. And just smoothing that down. Now this one, if you feel more comfortable getting a ruler to try to figure out exactly where your center is, that's fine as well. I'm actually, again, going to try to eyeball it and hope that works. Let's see. Alright, I like that, so I'm going to go with that one. And just go ahead and stick it down, and then again reinforce it with your bone folder. Okay, now I can put down my base page. And so my base page is going to look like that. Okay? So let me go ahead and put some adhesive on this, and then I can stick that down as well. And then we'll be almost done with the first page. Let's see. So after we do this one, the next page we're going to do is going to be the waterfall. Now the waterfall, you're not going to put your base page down until last. Simply because if you put your base page down first, you're not going to be able to put the flaps down for your waterfall because you would have to rip the paper up in order to be able to do it. And I'll show you guys what I mean in a minute once I get this adhered down. Okay, so let's do this. And this is going to go like so. Stick this down. Reinforce it. Okay, all done. So that's the first page right here. Now, second page. This is going to be my back page right here. The full page, which is where the waterfall is going to go. However, let me get rid of these. If I were to adhere the base page down first, I wouldn't have a place to put these flaps right here. Excuse me. I mean, I could put them in the top one right here, but there's no bottom one to put it because the bottom is not open. Okay, so I do not adhere the base page down until actually my waterfall is done. All right, so you're gonna actually adhere it onto this once your waterfall is completely finished, and then put it down. All right, now your base page for your belly band is here. Your waterfall is here. Here are the sheets for the actual waterfall, and then here are the sheets for the belly band. Okay, now your belly band is going to be adhered also to your base here, right here, and right here. My suggestion is to do this last, only because you need to actually be able to put this underneath the paper. So what we're going to do is, I'm sorry, not there. It needs to adhere on the first waterfall sheet. So what we'll do is I'll show you guys how I did this. I'm going to turn this to the side just so you guys will actually be able to see it a little bit better. I'm going to put adhesive ATG tape right here on this folded part right here, and then go ahead and stick it down. Okay. Alright, so all I'm going to do is fold this down so my adhesive is right there, and I am going to butt that all the way up to the top crease right here. Okay, so I hope you guys can actually see me doing this. And then you just go ahead and smooth it down and just reinforce it with your bone folder. And then you can kind of look. Sometimes it actually does look a little crooked, but that's okay too. All I'm doing now is I'll try to, sometimes you can actually straighten this out by just moving it a little bit and then using your bone folder to just go ahead and smooth that out. That works too. And so that's the start of your waterfall. And so what you do for the next one, again, do the same thing. Put your ATG tape right there on the flap. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and bump that up to the edge of your first one, the first one that you put down. So the edge is right there. I know it's a little hard to see because this is craft, but there's the edge right there. You're going to bump the top of this one up to that edge. You guys can actually see that. Alright. So you're going to bump the crease of this all the way up to that edge, and then you're going to repeat that all the way down. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all the rest of them. So just bear with me a few minutes and get that out the way. Alright, so again, same thing. You're going to take it and you're going to bump it right up against that edge right there. Make sure that you try to have it even. Let's see. So the edge is right there. I'm just going to bump it all the way up against that and then stick it down. But also make sure that my edges are even on the side. Like so. Okay? And you just stick it down. And then just reinforce it with your bone folder. And then just keep going all the way through. Okay? Okay. There we go. So another one. Okay, so I have 3 more to go. It may seem like I should have a lot more to go, but you really don't. 12 is more than enough because, let's see, let's put this one down. I'll show you guys what I mean. Oops, that's not right. That one's a little crooked. Let's try that again. Oh, that's better. All right, so once you fold these down, you'll see that you only have that much space that's left down at the bottom. So let's do the last 2. All right, last 2. Again, just bumping this up against the edge here and then sticking that down. Last one. Okay. Okay, last one. Sorry. Okay, so last one, we're just going to bump this up against the edge and stick this down. Okay, so it looks like there's a lot of space. You guys can see that there's the edge of this one, and then there's the edge of that. It looks like it's a lot of space, like I need to put another one, but when you fold this all the way down, it really isn't. For real, Sheryl? How in the world did you do this? Ma'am, what time is it?
7:24.
All right. Can you do me a favor? I'm still recording, but I'm going to delete this part. Can you take the pot, like the big pot? Make sure it doesn't need to be rewashed again because of something, you know, that we cooked in it before. And stick that meat in it for me. Hopefully within the next 30 minutes I should be done with this. If not sooner. Thank you, ma'am. Huh? Yeah, just don't make sure it's not super duper high. Thanks.
Not this one.
The pot.
The red one?
No, the black one.
The silver one?
Huh?
The silver one?
Yeah. Why?
Oh,
It might be in a dishwasher. I have no idea. Did you find it? Did you find it? Amber, did you find it?
yeah.
Was it in dishwasher?
Yep.
Alright. I don't think the dishwasher is clean though. Alright. Yeah, you probably need to just wash it though. Alright, so now that I'm done matting all of these, as you guys can see, it looks like it should be, when you flip it this way, that it should be another one. But in reality, when you look at it, there's the end of this one, and here's the end of this page here, if you guys can see that. So, it's fine. So now, what you'll do is, depending on which way you want to go with this, you can do your belly bands first, so that you don't accidentally mat your top page and your bottom page. Or you can go ahead and mat all the pages except for this top piece and this bottom piece. Just to go ahead and actually make it easy on myself, because I will get to adhering everything down, I'm going to go ahead and do the belly band first. So I have my mats for these. Give me 1 second so I can grab them. Here they are. Okay, so here are my mats for not only the belly bands but also the waterfall pages. So the belly bands, what I've done is I rounded my edges just because I like that look. So I'm going to grab my rounder. And again, with this one, I forget? No. Okay. Sorry, I was just measuring something out real quick. With this one, also keep in mind you're going to have a couple of pieces that are going to be flipped up as opposed to some pieces being the correct way. And what I mean by that is this one right here will be adhered like so. But then when you flip it up, it needs to be turned this way, only because I'm using ones that actually have writing on them. So when I round my edges, I got to round my edges at the top here instead of where I did at the bottom right here. Okay? So this one, the edges were rounded at the bottom. This one, because I'm going to flip it to the top, I need to round my edges up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And re-ink my edges really quickly. And then I can go ahead and adhere these down. Okay. I think I gotta change my ATG. Alright. 1 second, I need to change this. Just ran out. Sorry for the crinkling. I have to change my ATG gun really quickly, or the tape rather. Okay. Oops. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and finish putting tape on here now that I've got my ATG gun refilled. Okay. Now, I also use magnets on mine. So you'll need to decide if you are going to use magnets, or if you're not, you can use Velcro or something else. But because it tends to be a little flappy, they don't stay down, the waterfall pages, I would use something to keep it so that you keep everything down. Because, let's see, with the first set that I did without the belly band, they kind of flap up just a little bit. Even though the pages will keep them down, this is actually keeping them down quite well, but otherwise sometimes they tend to flap up just a little bit, and then they don't stay as flat as I would like them to be. So it's totally up to you whether or not you use a magnet. You can use Velcro, or you probably could get away with not using magnets, but just using something that has a little bit of weight to it, like maybe a flower or something, and you can kind of sit it there just on top, you know, with the little piece without having a magnet on it, and it might go ahead and keep it down. But it's totally up to you what you guys decide to use. So, but I'm gonna use magnets. I'm using the basic gray magnetic discs, the small ones. So I'm going to get my sheet here, and I'm going to stick the magnets on this bottom piece here, only because I don't want the bulk of it to be right here. I want the heavy part to be here. Even though these are super flat, they're not as flat, you know, as a piece of paper, but they are flat. Pretty flat, if you guys know what I mean. Alright, so we'll flip this over, and I'm just putting some adhesive down first, and then I'm going to put the magnets kind of where I want it to be. And then I'll put another piece of adhesive over that. And then I'll move this back where I need it to be. So all I'm doing is positioning the paper over the magnet and sticking it down. Alright, so now I'm going to get my bone folder and smooth this out. And then I'm going to smooth around the magnet to make sure that I get a good stick. Okay, but just be sure that you don't you don't put too many grooves in it, because you don't want to actually puncture your paper, and then you'll have to rip it up and put another piece down. So just be careful when you're smoothing the magnet out. You want to go ahead and make sure that you get a good stick, but you also don't want to puncture the paper. Okay, so here is my top sheet for my belly band on the first one. And I'm going to go ahead and flip this around, line that up so I get a nice border, and smooth that out. Alright, so this is my top piece for my belly band. So this one can go right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some ATG tape on this flap right here. And then I'm going to kind of eyeball it and position it so that it's in the middle. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to turn this around. And I'm just going to eyeball it just to see. Might be a little off, but only slightly. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that down and reinforce that. And then I'm going to get my other piece of the belly band. And then that one I'm going to, again, kind of position my pieces and look at them and figure out where I need to put this. So I'll round my corners here at the top. So I can make sure I don't round the wrong set. Go ahead and ink my edges really quickly. And then this one folds down like this, so that means this one will go like this and the edges are rounded on the bottom. Okay. So catch my edges really quickly. Okay. Now, for the other magnet, I'm going to take the other magnet piece and I'm going to go ahead and place it where the other one is. Alright, so I just let the magnet adhere to that. Let me go ahead and put some adhesive. On my two sheets. That way I can get ready to stick those down once I have the magnet where I need it to be. Alright. So we'll just do some adhesive on these. Alright, there's one. And here is two. Okay, sorry about that. I was out of frame. Okay. Alright, so there is this one. Now, with my piece here, I'm actually going to try to eyeball exactly where the magnet is going to go. Okay, so all I'm doing is kind of lining this up and then putting this on top and kind of looking where the magnet is going to go and sticking my finger there. Then I'm just going to put some adhesive right in that spot. Okay, so just putting adhesive right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in position. So I'll kind of line this up, kind of where I think this is supposed to go. Move it over to make sure it's lined up evenly. Smooth this out and then stick this down. And what that's going to do is that's going to capture the magnet. That way I don't have to try to guess where the magnet's supposed to be. Okay? So now all I'm going to do is put some adhesive over this magnet right here. Okay? And then I can stick my pieces down. So this one goes right here. So I'm just going to position that and then go ahead and stick this down. And then I'll smooth this out. Now you can put the magnet to the front or to the back. It is totally up to you which way you decide to go. I just stuck this one on the front, but it doesn't have to. You can stick it on the back. So when this one goes like this goes like this. Alright. So now I can double check. Alright, so just double checking, making sure that I adhered these correctly. That goes that flips down. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive right here. That way I can get this belly band down, and then that way when I put my mats down for the waterfall, I don't have to worry about trying to rip up a sheet because I forgot to put the belly band down. So I'm just going to go ahead and let the magnets find where they need to be, or should I say find themselves, and then I'm just going to smooth this out and position it and then stick it down. Okay? And then once you do that, just go ahead and smooth down the adhesive to make sure you get a good stick. And then now you can go ahead and match your pages, or match your the pieces of paper for your waterfall. Alright, so what I did was I just went ahead and cut my sheets out. I went ahead and inked my edges and made sure that I left the bottom sheet as a square. So that's this sheet here. This one is a complete square, so it will go right here. And then I just turned my pages the way I needed them to be. So for this top set here, this top set is going to be or maybe I didn't. These should match exactly for the other one. So this one will go here, and then this one will go here, and so on and so forth. So I'll go ahead and mat a couple of these, and then mat a couple of these, which are the gusset pieces, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Okay? So let me go ahead and get some adhesive on this first one. Okay, there's that. And then making sure I don't have any glue over the edges here. Turn this upside down so you guys can see. So all I'm going to do is get a small border and stick it down. Okay, so let me get some adhesive on this one here. And we'll do the same thing, and then I'll show you guys the gusset piece. It's exactly as, you know, any other gusset piece. You just put the adhesive down and then you stick that down as well. But I just think it gives a more of a finished look by having that there as opposed to just showing the actual cardstock that I use, the craft cardstock. So this one here, again, same thing. I'm just going to line it up. So I have a border piece and then stick it down. Okay, now for the gusset piece, just put some adhesive on that, and then you stick that right there in the middle. You'll have a little tiny border, but not a huge one. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and stick that right there in the middle. Normally I do this once I have all of the pages matted, but for the sake of saving some time, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's see. All right, so my next piece that goes right here is this one. Let me go ahead and mat that one. That way I can show the contrasting for you guys. Just getting some adhesive down. And then we have this sheet here. And again, I'm just going to eyeball it, try to get a nice border, and then stick it down. Okay, so actually dropped my last piece. There we go. So I'll go ahead and mat this bottom piece right here really quickly, and then we'll move on to the next page. And don't forget, this one does not need to be rounded unless you already rounded your bottom base piece in and of itself. I didn't round mine. I actually like that it's square. Just something different, even though all the rest of the pages are rounded at the bottom. I just like the way it looks. So this one right here, actually just go ahead and bump it up against the bottom, but then give it a nice border and stick it down. And there you go. Okay, so we will finish up placing this waterfall page down so you guys can see how that is done, as opposed to me actually putting all the waterfall pages in. I'll go ahead and finish up putting this down so you guys can see that. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your base page and you're just going to kind of eyeball kind of where you want it to go. So put your page down, stretch it out, put your flaps across, top and the bottom, and just kind of move it to where you think that you might want it to go. I find that it makes it easier for me if I flip it over. And then I do that because I can see the contrasting. So I can see the craft, and then I can see the back of the paper. Even if it's a pattern paper, you can still see it a little bit easier. Okay, so once you think you kind of have it where you need it to be, you can go ahead and slide it and put your adhesive down. Or I usually just take it completely off, and then I go ahead and place my adhesive down. And I am using ATG tape for this. Because even though it's going to be stuck to the paper, the base paper, the paper itself is going to be stuck down to the base page. So I think the ATG tape is okay. But if you feel more comfortable using some score tape, then by all means, that's fine too. Also, be careful when you get ready to adhere this down. I'm just actually smoothing down, make sure I don't have any excess glue or excess tape. Also be sure you have this going the correct way. So for instance, my waterfall goes down this way. I don't want to take my paper and just blindly think that it should go this way when it really should be this way. So just be sure before you actually get ready to stick your waterfall down that you do have your base paper going the correct way. Okay, so I am just eyeballing it on this side, and then I'm going to flip it over, and then I will do the same thing, kind of eyeball it and look to see, make sure you don't have it crooked, make sure it's straight. And you will have a little bit of room. It's going to be a little bit of give, so it won't be bumped all the way up against the score mark on both sides. You'll have just a little bit of space. So I'm just looking. One second. And if you do make a mistake with this being ATG tape, you can actually lift it up. So all I did was just kind of eyeballed it, and now I'm going to go ahead and press this down, and I'm going to look at this one, stretch it all the way out because you do not want to bubble, or you don't want it to buckle rather, I should say, and stretch it out, and then go ahead and smooth that down. Okay, so now you have your base page in a waterfall, and even though it's buckled up like this, that's okay, because when you adhere it down, it will be straight. Okay, so see, when I press this flat, it is straight. There is no extra buckle or anything like that, so it's okay, just like this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply ATG tape over here, and then I'm going to adhere it to the back of the base page. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm sorry if this was such a long video. I'm actually going to stop here and then go ahead and start another one, just because I don't want it to be too incredibly long. So this one will be base page 1. And then we'll do base page 2. Base page 2 may not take this long simply because it doesn't have the waterfall or anything like that. Okay. Okay. And again, before you adhere this down, just make sure that it is going the correct way on the front. So right here, here's my title, Be Happy, Be Bright. I'll flip this over so that I know that this is facing the right way. This one, and then again, you're just going to center it and place it down. Hold on, I forgot to smooth my edges down. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just going to center it so that I have a nice little border. And go ahead and stick it down. Now this one, you don't have the luxury of smoothing it all the way out. But what I do is I just go ahead and take my bone folder and I smooth it right here. I smooth it here. And then I just lift this up and I just move my bone folder so that I can smooth it right there. And I do move it right there against that edge to make sure I got a good stick. If you are also so inclined, feel free to flip it over because it's not adhered yet, and you can smooth it down this way as well. Okay, so there we go. Here is our first page. So we have our side flap here, we have our top flap here, and then our base page. And then when you flip it over, here is our waterfall. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mat the rest of these pages before I make the next video. And then there's our base page there, but then keep in mind this lifts up so you are able to slide something through there. Okay, all right guys, so I will be back with the next video, and then hopefully with the next one I should be able to fit both the base page 2 and base page 3. And those are the ones with the different pockets and stuff. And so after that, we'll be able to go ahead and do the spine, or should I say the binding, and then go ahead and do the covers and everything like that. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Bye-bye.